So, as before, it's a combination of yoga and Pilates postures. Let's get started as normal with some mobilization. Get yourself comfortable on your sit bones. Sit on a prop, a block or a cushion, rolled up blanket, anything you think you might need. And then anchor into your sit bones. Let the hands rest in the lap or on the knees. And then just start to lift and lengthen through the spine. So a string coming out through the top of our head, drawing us up towards the ceiling. The shoulders stabilize up, back and down, and slide in towards the spine, opening up through the chest. And now with that light engagement in through the core, zipped on a third of the way up, activating the pelvic floor, and the wide belt coming around our midsection, done up to the third notch. So a light connection in the body's natural corset. Start with a few shoulder shrugs. Lift the shoulders up to the ears, inhale, and then exhale and allow them to just drop down. So we can actually make this feel heavy as we drop. And as you drop and exhale, release any tension from the shoulders or the neck. Just 2 more. And remember, the repetitions are only there as a guide. Listen to your body and do what feels right for you today. Inhale, drop the chin towards the chest and roll the head through towards the right shoulder, and then lift the chin parallel with the floor. Inhale through the center, exhale as you lift the chin to the other side. So we don't want any hyperextension in the neck. So we make sure that the chin comes parallel with the floor. And all we're aiming for is to release into the neck, into the cervical spine. Just start moving around some fluid around those joints. Allow the head to relax. One more time to each side. And once we've released into the neck, just bring it back through the center and lift the chin parallel with the floor. Inhale, sweep the arms up into an I, out to a Y, and then to a T with the palms up. Now rotate the palms towards the floor. And exhale as you sweep up, back up to the I, out to the Y, the T, palms face down. So a little bit of rotation going on into the shoulders. Warming up the stabilizing muscles in the shoulders, as well as all the mobilizing muscles on the outside. Try to bring some energy into the arms. So reach up, lifting out of the waist, opening wide through the chest and the shoulders, and then really getting wide into the shoulders, and then lifting up. We've got 2 more of these. But if you feel this is uncomfortable, then stop and just do a few shoulder rolls. Just get some mobility into the shoulders. So this is our last one. We're going to hold the arms up at the top. Take hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Inhale and exhale and just lift over through the waist, anchoring to the sit bones. And then inhale and exhale and do the same to the other side. Now if it feels uncomfortable to have the arms in this position, then just go back to the normal side bend with the hands resting on the mat and just floating one arm up and over the top. So we're just using the arms really to get a little bit more out of this stretch. And just make sure that the shoulders are drawn down and away from the ears. We've got 1 more of these to each side. Just a lift, really expanding into the rib cage, increasing the distance from bottom rib to hip. And then lastly, allow the arms to float down and then sweep them up. Prayer position with the thumbs resting on the sternum and the fingers just underneath the chin. Inhale. And as we exhale, rotate to the right. Inhale through the center, and as we exhale, rotate to the left. Be aware of the position of the shoulders here. Sometimes tempting to try and get a bit more range of movement. And somehow it feels right, although it doesn't actually work. But sometimes it does feel right just to lift the shoulders up towards the ears, but we don't want to do that. Just rotating through the thoracic spine. Not a huge amount of rotation in that area. So this will be our last one. And then come through the center and float the arms down. Bring yourself round and into a 4-point kneeling position for some cat and cow. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Spread the fingers, pressure through the whole of the hand, and the elbows are soft. Try and get that length into the spine and that light activation into the core. We're going to inhale, and as you exhale, tuck the chin and tuck the pelvis under into a cat stretch. And then inhale, bend the elbows, lead with the chin. Lift the chin and then lift the tailbone and come into cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Just to mobilize into the spine. So warming up the muscles that stabilize the spine. And opening up through the front of the spine, where the bones are much bigger. And it's not something that we would normally do in our everyday functional activity. So it's a really good thing to do for this spine, front and back. Open up the front of the spine, opening up the back of the spine. One more time, cow, and we're going to finish with a cat. Release to neutral, come back into a child's pose stretch and just stretch the arms out and leave the legs in a neutral position so they're about hip distance apart, and just rest your bum on the heels if it's comfortable to do that. We've got a combination now that's a child's pose with a thread needle stretch and coming into a modified plank. Of course, again, do what feels right for your body today. You can do one or all three of these movements. Child's pose, come halfway up, inhale, and then exhale, and then inhale, and as you come around, bring your leg so that it comes into a 90-degree angle, so we're not twisting through the knee, and then reach up. So inhaling to reach up, exhaling to come back down into child's pose. And then it's an inhale as we lift up towards the sky. Exhale. Remember to move your leg so you're not twisting at the knee, lifting the knee as you rotate. So we're not rotating on the kneecap. That wouldn't be very comfortable. So we've got one more after this one. Finding that stretch, that openness through the front of the body. That leg is in line with the stationary knee. And then from here, we're going to release and come into a kneeling position. And facing in front, we're going to come back down into child's pose. Legs again in a neutral position, hip distance apart. So the arms are behind us with the palms facing up. Resting into child's pose. Inhale. And then exhale, and then inhale and sweep up. Sweep the arms, bring them round, place them at the base of the spine, and then just open up into the chest. Still inhaling, and then exhale and release down. Allow the arms to float down, and inhale, reach up. Place the hands at the base of the spine. Now start to really open up through the chest. And float the chest up towards the ceiling if you're comfortable to do that. Inhale. And then exhale. Really opening up that area through the chest. Exhale. Inhale, sweeping the arms round. So we're just really preparing the body for what's to come. Let's do that one more time. Lifting the chest, floating a little higher if it feels right, pushing the hips slightly forward, and then release to neutral. We're going to come down into child's pose, so we're facing the other direction now. Neutral position with the legs again, arms stretched out in front. Inhale and then exhale. Reach under and then inhale, rotate through that knee and that lower leg, so that again it's going to be in a 90-degree angle. So we're actually opening up also into the back of the shoulder with the thread needle stretch. We just want to make sure that the alignment of that straightened leg, so it's in line with the bent knee. 2 more times. You can look under your arm just to increase the stretch. You can look up towards the ceiling, just checking that you're not rotating back or forwards. So this is our last time. Really opening up into that stretch. Pushing into the hand, so that little bit of opposition. And then release. Come into kneeling, float back into child's pose, exhaling, and then inhaling. And now if you want to go into a little bit more of a baby back bend, remember it is optional. We're just going to do this 2 more times. Exhale, inhale, and then lift, pushing the hips forward. Maybe starting to look a little further behind, but listen to what's happening with your own spine. If you're not used to doing back bending, then it may not feel comfortable at all. You just might want to open the chest. Nothing is compulsory. And then release to neutral. Prepare for a downward facing dog. So come into child's pose. We've got our standing step section coming up. So with the arms extended really long in front, they're going to be in the perfect position for the downward facing dog. So bum resting on the heels, chest and ribcage resting on the thighs. On the next inhale, tuck the toes under, lift the tailbone and the hips up towards the ceiling, adjust the feet if you need to, they're about hip distance apart, and just direct the heels towards the mat. Now here, we want to make sure that the spine is in as good a position as it can be, and that might mean to bend the knees a little bit more and maybe even lift the heels a little higher so you can get the chest through towards the thighs. The head is relaxed. So bend the knees as much as you need to, maybe to elevate the tailbone a little bit more, and then just straighten the legs. So we could do that a few times, just bending the knees, elevating the tailbone, trying to leave the tailbone where it is as you drop the heels towards the mat. Inhaling, and then exhaling. So one more time. Inhale, and then exhale. And now we're going to bend the knees, look towards the thumbs, and either take a big step, so pull back, big step, or small steps towards the front of the mat. Start with a little bit of a forward fold, Uttanasana. Relax the head and neck, relax the arms. Elevate the hips and the tailbone towards the ceiling, and again bend your knees as much as you need to. We're going to inhale to roll up, stacking the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, and the head is the last thing to come up. So let's start in a mountain pose with the feet hip distance apart. Lift and lengthen through the spine, soften into the knees. Find that neutral position in the pelvis where there's no tension in the lower back and the hips are stacked above the shoulders. Engaging lightly into the core. First of all, we're going to place the hands on the hips just to open through the chest. Take the front leg and step it back and lift the heel. So we should be on a fairly solid foundation. So we're not stepping that leg directly behind the front leg. We've still got the legs hip distance apart. So we're setting up for a lunge. The front knee should be, for now, roughly over the ankle with a slight bend. or just a bit of softness. Inhale, float the arms up. And then exhale, drop down into half a lunge, drawing the elbows back and down. Inhale to lift, and then exhale, really draw the shoulder blades in towards the spine. So the first time in the lunge position, we don't want to really go too low. So just start with half a range of movement, just coming halfway down. And then as you start to feel more comfortable through your joints, then maybe start to take it lower, but keep an eye on your front knee. So it doesn't want to come any further forward than the middle of that foot. And the back knee should be directly under the hip. We've got 2 more. Chest is open, shoulders are wide. Now on the last one, we're going to hold it down. Just hold it down, take 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale. 1 more breath. Should be feeling it mostly in the front of that back thigh. And then come up, release, float the arms down, back on the hips. Replace that back foot into, bring it in a little, and turn that back foot at an angle of about 45 degrees. Shift your front foot forward as much as you need to feel comfortable again. We're going to go into warrior 1. The hands on the hips square, shoulders square. We're going to drop down and sink into that front knee, so that knee bends again, just like we did in the lunge, and the back leg is straight. So we want an even pressure through both those legs. So it's like you're trying to push your mat away with your feet. Now we've got a little combination with the arms. From here, good to inhale. As we exhale, reach forward, keep the spine long, tip from the hip, and then inhale and reach up, and then we circle the arms round again, just like we did before, and then reach, exhaling, inhaling to lift, and then open the arms round. So reach, keep long, lift up, and circle. So checking that front knee. It's in a really strong position. So we don't want it to rock forward beyond the middle of the foot. So it's a really good leg strength now. We've got 2 more. The eye line is forward, maybe a meter or 2 in front of your front foot. This is our last one. And then float the arms down. From here, we're going to turn to front, taking a wide squat. So in yoga, it's called horse stance. We've got a combination here. We're going to use the arms again. If you don't want to use the arms, it's okay just to use the legs. These are much more important, much more functional exercise than a squat, using the legs rather than the arms. So let's float the arms up. Palms towards the ceiling. We're going to sink down into a squat, tailbone going towards the mat. And as we come down, we bend the arms and the palms are facing forward. And then we're going to push up as if we're really trying to separate in the side walls. And then we come up. Pushing up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale as you push. So it's as much a strengthener for the arms as it is for the legs, if we're really using them with purpose. So we can use them without thought, and maybe they're not doing much at all, or we can really use them with purpose. So if you imagine you're pushing against something really strong with resistance, then you will use more muscle fibers to complete the task. 2 more times. So a great strengthener for the legs, pushing the knees out. So the knees should be in line with the middle of the foot. So this will be our last one. Sink and push, and then release and come up. We're going to turn to the other direction now, setting up for our lunge. So you've got that back heel back, the back heel is up now. We've got the body weight centered, hips and shoulders aligned. Take the arms first of all on the hips, so we know we've got a little bit of softness in that front knee, back heel is lifted. Inhale, float the arms up, open up through the palms. Exhale, sink down into a lunge. So even although we haven't lunged on this side, we have done it on the other side. So there is an element of anticipation in the brain. And you can either go halfway, or you can go a little deeper for this side. Now, both sides of the body are not normally equal in terms of strength and flexibility, so you might just want to check that front knee, what it's doing, no further forward than the middle of the foot, and push up through the front heel to stand. So you really want to get some activation into the glutes. 2 more times. Remember to breathe, exhaling, inhaling, and then we're going to hold this one just for a couple of breaths, just to really open up through the chest, draw the elbows back and down, and then just start to feel that build up, that little sting in the front of that back thigh, and then release the arms. Adjust your back foot for warrior, warrior 1. And now sink into that front knee. Feel the strength in the legs, even through both legs. Square off the torso. And then inhale. Exhale. Forward. Up. And around as you inhale. Exhale. Inhale to the left. Reach. So we've got that solid foundation through the legs and also into the feet. And you're stepping from the hips, so keeping that spine long. And your arms, if you can, you're trying to get your biceps level with the ears. And that just really helps to keep everything in alignment. Pushing through that front leg to stand. This is our last one here. And then release to front. Let's do another sequence of squats. So you've got your horse stance, the feet are turned out. We've got the arms floated up, the palms towards the ceiling. And then from here, inhale. Exhale, sit down. Inhale and exhale, push. And then inhale. So just find a breathing pattern that feels natural for you if you don't want to follow the suggested breathing pattern. So remember that resistance. We are creating that feeling of pushing with all our strength in our arms and shoulders. One more time. Now big push. And then release. We're going to turn to face this end of the mat. We're going to bring that back foot in. We're just going to take a forward fold again to bring us down to the mat. So let's start with the mountain Tadasana. Samastahiti. It means I am ready, and we're ready for the next section, which is for the front of the body and the back of the body, so mainly into the torso here, but not exclusively. So once we're ready, inhale, float the arms up, bend the knees, and if you feel you can, still inhaling, floating the chest, drawing the shoulders down, pushing the hips forward, and then exhale to release. Bring the hands down through the center line. Start to bend at the knees, tip from the hip, lengthen into the spine, and then when you need to, release. Inhale to half the left. Maybe onto the thighs or the shins, or you may be able to keep your fingertips on the mat. Push the tailbone away. And then exhale to release. So bend the knees, rest the ribcage on the thighs, and just nod and shake the head. Release into the shoulders. And just breathe. Shine the tailbone. feel like maybe you're opening up into the back of the knees now if you can. And then start to release, bending the knees, maybe bringing the hands in front. We're going to come down into a crouch. Draw the forehead towards the knees. Tuck the chin and try and open up into the mid and upper back. And then release. Use your hands to assist you if you need to. You don't have to. Feet hip distance apart, knees in line with feet. We're going to come down into position for our abdominal crunch. So lengthen into the spine, stabilize into the pelvis, imprint if you need to. Remember to look after your lumbar spine. If it doesn't feel comfortable, gently pressure in towards the mat, just enough to squeeze that grip. So once we've created that strong foundation, we're going to float the fingertips to the temples. Elbows are wide, the core is engaged. Inhale to prepare and exhale as we come up into an abdominal crunch, looking towards the knees. Inhale to lower and exhale to lift. Now you can continue with this, or we're going to create a circular movement, activating into the muscles in the waist. So after this one, we're going to twist to front, and then staying up to center, and then to the back, and then come down. So try and create that circular movement. Twist, center, twist, and come down. So if it feels good, then you're starting to create that circle, working into the upper abdominals and also the muscles in the waist, stabilizing into the core. So one more time, and then leaving the fingers where they are, float front leg, back leg, and now in tabletop. We're going to inhale and exhale and up. We come. Now we're going to do a crisscross. We're going to twist and twist and twist. If it's too much, to take the legs out, hold tabletop, or drop the feet back down again. We've got 4 more. Hips pointing to the ceiling. Last one, release, head and shoulders down, hands down, one leg and then the other. Now inhale and exhale and roll up into shoulder bridge. And then roll back down again, inhaling and exhaling. Just a little bit of active recovery, nothing more than that. So even if you didn't want to come all the way up into the shoulder bridge, you can just do a gentle lumbar rolling. We just really want to get some rest and recovery into the upper abdominals and particularly into the neck and shoulders. So one more shoulder bridge. Massaging the spine. And then reset. So this time we're going to take the circle in the other direction. Fingers to temples. So we're going to twist to the back. Inhale, exhale, twist, center, front, and down. Twist, center, front, and down. And once you feel you're getting into a little bit of rhythm with the movement, then you start to focus on the circle. And it becomes smooth, but checking in with the pelvis. It's stable. 2 more times in this direction. Space under the chin, neck in line with the rest of the spine. And then release, leaving the fingers where they are, floating one leg up and then the other, and then again, inhale and exhale, come up. So you start to the back this time. Crisscross. Control of the legs, you don't have to use the legs. Four more. forearms float down, one leg down, then the other. We're going to come round and onto our side now. We're just going to do one exercise on our side, and it's a side hover with a little pulse. So bring your elbow under your shoulder and the forearm in line with the elbow. Take the legs straight out in line with the torso, and of course you have the option of taking the easier level, bending your knees and just leaving your heels in line with the base of your spine. So bend the bottom knee, keep that leg in line with the torso and the top leg. Inhale, exhale and lift up. Reach fingertips towards the ceiling to make sure that there's alignment through the shoulders, and then reach over. Now you can stay in this position, or you can drop that hip down if you need to, or you can come up onto your feet, either stacking the legs or taking the top leg in front and the bottom leg in line with the torso. So inhale and exhale and reach over the top. Now you can hold this for up to 10 breaths, or we're going to do some pulsing movements. Lifting up and then not lowering quite all the way down, so it's more about the lift. So like before, where we used pulsing movements, we're trapping that oxygenated blood to squeeze out the last little bit of energy out of the muscles to force that change to happen quicker. So it accelerates the training effect. So pushing into the forearm, shoulders away from the ears, one more pulse, and then release. Come up, roll through the shoulder, and then come on to the other side. Set up the alignment. Legs straight out. Take whatever option feels right for you today. And then when you're ready, inhale and exhale. So the chest is open, shoulders are stabilized back and down, the core is engaged. Arm lifts over the top without changing the position of the shoulders. Stay with this for up to 10 breaths. Inhale, exhale and lift. So sometimes it's quite good to use a visualization. So you might want to imagine that you've got one of those big cathedral candles underneath your waist, and you obviously don't want to catch fire, so you've got to stay lifted above the flame of the candle. So working deeply into the core, muscles in the waist, and also around the hips 2 more times with the pulse. And then release. Come up and on to the hip, release through the shoulder. We're now going to come on to our fronts. We've got some work for the postural muscles. We're going to bring in the legs, but do whatever feels right for you. So maybe just the upper body, or you can bring in the legs. So it's a bit like the rear delt squeeze that we've done before. The legs are hip distance apart. The arms are by our side with the palms facing up. So lengthen into your spine, tuck the chin, stabilize the shoulders, engage into the core. So feel your belly button just lift off the mat. We'll take the yoga breathing sequence here. So we're going to inhale as we peel off the mat, ballooning through the chest and lifting the arms out like they're wings. And then exhale to lower. Inhale, open up, eyeline is down, the neck is long. So you can just use the upper body. Working into the postural muscles and into the core. Or we can start to bring in the legs. So we're lifting the legs up and a little wider, and then releasing. Up, inhale, and then exhale. So now working deep into the muscles in the bum. So it's called, or at least I've called it, a flying locust. I don't even know if locusts fly. I don't think they do. artistic license. I think that's what you call it. So let's do 2 more. And then release. Push back into child's pose. Widen the knees, bring the feet together, bum towards the heels. You're going to finish with a high plank. Just for strength. So we're just going to hold it. I'm going to give you the option to lift alternate legs if you want to create that little bit of instability to challenge the core a little more. You can stay on your knees, of course, so it's up to you. Our last exercise. So for the high plank, hands under the shoulders, knees hip distance apart, shoulders away from the ears, eye line down towards the mat, core engaged. Hold this for up to 10 breaths, or inhale, tuck the toes under, exhale, come up into high plank. Now we've got a really strong position here, good alignment. Head not dropping down, neck in alignment with the spine, just the eye line down, shoulders away from the ears. Knees are putting up to support the legs and push the heels away. Now if you want to make this more challenging, then you're going to lift front leg and then back leg. So you probably don't want to lift the leg any higher than the hip, otherwise we're going to cause the lower back to scrunch up, and we want to keep it long. So we've got 2 more to each side, using the breath, pushing into the hands. Last one, and then release. Release the feet. Go back into child's pose, relax, our work is done. So from here, let's take a release halfway up. Bring the back arm through into that thread needle. Palm up, sink down. I always think it's quite nice to finish with some positions that we started with, so we can notice how we feel now compared to how we felt at the start. And then release. Change sides, drop down, relax the head if you can, drop down, stretching the back of the shoulder, and then carefully release. I'm going to face front into the hurdler stretch with the right leg bent at 90 degrees and the back leg bent at 90 degrees. So right here, you want to lift and lengthen through the spine. Place your hands wherever they comfortably land. Tip from the hip. So you want to feel that stretch down the outside of that front hip, and maybe even down the outside of the thigh. Use the breath, inhale and exhale. Try not to collapse over that front leg. It doesn't really achieve the stretch that we want to. And then release. Now you can come onto your knees again to bring your front leg forward for a hip flexor stretch. Or you can come up onto your back knee. And just, I'm going to turn slightly on the angle. And then sink into that front hip, that knee over the front foot. We're going to inhale and float the arms up towards the ceiling. And then as we exhale, twist round. Now, if you can, just place your hand on the other side of your lower back and use this hand to pull you round for the twist. Inhale, and then exhale, and twist to front. So again, you can use that hand pushing against the inner thigh, close to the knee. And then release back into a neutral position. Lift the front toes and sink back. So you're coming into a hamstring stretch here. The toes coming towards the shin. You can just place both hands on the floor, inhale, and exhale. Start to relax the head and neck. hamstring stretch, and then release. We're going to come back now onto the other side. So we'll bring left leg in front, right leg behind, 90 degrees. Let's take that tip. So chest directing towards that front thigh or knee. Adjusting your hands if you need to as you increase into the stretch. Remember not to just collapse over that front leg. One side will definitely feel more flexible than the other. Or, not definitely, some people might be blessed with symmetry. Unfortunately, I'm not one of them. Inhale, release, come up onto the back knee any way you need to, and then sink into the hip flexor. And when you feel ready, float the arms up, add the twist, really using that hand to draw yourself around, using both hands, having a look. And then release to front and open up. Release, hamstring stretch. Sitting the bum back towards the heels. Trying to bring the toes towards the shin. Using your breath. Inhale. Exhale as the muscles relax. And then start to release. We're going to come onto our knees, if it's comfortable for you to do that. Otherwise, just go into any other position that feels right for you. So let's take a stretch for the upper back. Cross the palms, tuck the chin, lift the shoulders up to the ears and try and round the back. It's as if you can take your elbows wide to really try and separate the shoulder blades. And then release. Hands behind. Now you can place your hands on the base of your spine, like we did, or clasp the hands. Inhale to exhale, really lift and open the chest and the front of the shoulder. And then release. Well, thank you so much for your time, your effort and your energy today, and for joining me. I do appreciate it. So, thank you, and I will hopefully see you again soon. Please enjoy the rest of your day.